All right, I want to introduce you to Saib Tayyib Jawad. He is the serving ambassador to the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, representing Afghanistan. Hello, sir.
Good morning.
From December 2003 to 2010, you were also the ambassador to the United States, I should mention, and you were also the chief of staff to the Afghan President Hamid Karzai. You have a lot of experience in terms of watching what's been happening in Afghanistan.
Yes, I've been serving in different capacities in Afghan governments, basically since 9/11, since 2002.
It's amazing to see, as peace talks are underway with the Taliban, so-called peace talks, this relentless violence. I mean, rockets fired, a car bomb, attempts by the Taliban to take Lashkar Gah in Helmand province. Is this the road to peace?
Well, the good news is that the peace talk has started. It's a good beginning after 30, 40 years of violence. The fact that we are sitting across the table, it is a progress. And the fact that it's been 30 and 40 years of the violence, we expect some glitches, we expect some delays. We don't think that's going to be an easy road. And we want to be realistic about what we expect. It's going to be a difficult road. It's going to be a long road. And it's going to be difficult to manage the expectations of the Afghan people, who really deserve peace, demand peace, but we have to come actually into an agreement with the enemy, also with the Taliban, to what kind of setup will emerge from the peace talks.
What is the point of talking to the Taliban? I mean, initially they were directly tied into Al-Qaeda. Then they said they weren't, but they've been operating in conjunction with the ISI, the Pakistani intelligence agencies, launching relentless, endless attacks. I guess, what is the point of talking to them? And then again, how do you have peace if you don't?
Well, unfortunately, to be honest, in any big conflicts, you talk to the terrorist, you talk to the enemy, you talk to the killer. That's what happened. And then big peace processes, and then in Colombia and in Northern Ireland and other places. It is a necessity. The bloodshed has gone for too long. There is a strong consensus in the Afghan society. And there's also some regional encouraging move by Pakistan and other, and pressure by the United States to end the conflict. It's not going to be easy. I wish either we had the force to take him out completely and impose actually an Afghanistan that we envision for the future of our country. That's not possible. The peace process is due to the fact that we, the Afghan government and the Taliban, are mutually weak. We have to find a solution other than trying to eliminate each other.
I mean, in Northern Ireland, to use your example, there was an armed wing and there was a political wing. Supposedly, at the end of it, you could separate them. The political wing spoke about peace. They demanded that the armed wing give up their arms for different things like prisoner releases and all of that. Can you make that differentiation with the Taliban? Is there an armed Taliban, an armed wing, and a political wing? I don't think there is.
You're absolutely right. There was, in the conflict in Northern Ireland had a religious or ideological basis. There are some specific demands on what they wanted to accomplish. Same thing in many other, in Sri Lanka or other places. The challenge of the peace process in Afghanistan is that the Taliban have not providing an alternative on what do they want if they don't agree what we are offering actually as part of the system of governance.
What do you think they want?
We don't know. And again, we can judge what they were actually when they were an Islamic Emirate in Afghanistan. And that's not actually a very attractive model of governance for the Afghan people or for the rest of the world, in fact. So they have to, part of the peace process is to make Taliban actually to come with specific proposal on not only saying that they don't like what the Afghan people or the Afghan government is doing, it's specifically what is their plans. Like, for instance, what is their plan on the higher education, for example? No higher education at all, or no higher education for girls, or no higher education in separate institutions. They have never actually come up with specific plans and idea on not only on governance, but also on healthcare, on education, on providing services. And it's part of the peace process is to make them think and put forward some plans on how they envision the future of Afghanistan with them being part of the Afghan society.
Can you have peace with the Taliban? I mean, never mind all the complications of, who the Taliban are. And I don't believe that I think they want power. I don't think they want peace. But can you make peace with the Taliban while the Pakistani government continues to stir Afghanistan and continues to push the Taliban out, push Al Qaeda out, maybe ISIS as well?
Our peace efforts is multi-pronged. We are talking to Taliban is a main enemy actually that is will be an important player in bringing the peace. But also we are trying to convince Pakistan as our neighbor, Iran and other, that a stable, peaceful and pluralistic, more important pluralistic Afghanistan is something that will be at the best interest of them too. And that's, we think that only a pluralistic republic in Afghanistan can accommodate the diversity of the Afghan society, but also the competing interests around Afghanistan. You're absolutely right. Pakistan has different interests than India, and both of them are important friends or neighbors of us. Iran and Saudi Arabia are competing on many platforms. But we are trying to make them understand that a peace and stability in Afghanistan and a pluralistic system in Afghanistan is not only the demand of the Afghan people, but also to the best interest of these countries.
My next question is going to be a bit long just because I think I have to give a bit of background. But essentially, at one point after 9/11, there were 100,000 American forces in Afghanistan, plus all the ISAF, the NATO allies that joined in there, Canada, Britain, France, everybody. That now we're talking, we only have 5,500 US soldiers in there. President Trump has said he's going to bring them home by Christmas, which is a very good kind of election slogan. But is that a good thing to do? Do you want American troops to leave, or do you want it to be condition-based, like General Mark Milley, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said, okay, stop the fighting. Taliban, put your arms down, stop fighting. And then condition-based, yes, then we'll take the rest of our troops out. How do you think it should go?
We think that the war in Afghanistan is a war against terrorism. It's not only for the stability of Afghanistan, it's for the stability of the region and for safety and security of the world. We saw that after the Soviets withdraw and the international forces and the international support actually also withdraw from Afghanistan. The result of that was emergence of fanatic groups in the region and Al Qaeda, which was a result of actually of the resistance group against the Soviets. So we as Afghan, we are ready to defend Afghanistan. Most of the war now is conducted by Afghans. Fortunately, there are no foreign soldiers being killed in Afghanistan, and that's a good thing. We appreciate the services that the foreign soldiers have provided to Afghanistan, as you mentioned, not only United States, but many of our NATO allied and non-NATO partners that was part of this fight.
True, non-NATO as well.
We're very grateful for that, but they have enabled us now by their training, by their resources. We are conducting the fight ourselves. We would like them to stay in Afghanistan in supporting role. Give us the intelligence enabler, give us the training and the equipments. We will conduct the war ourselves. But also, we think that the war has international security impact, and therefore, unresponsible withdrawal from Afghanistan without considering the condition on the ground or making the withdrawal based on the political convenience of a person instead of the national interest of the United States is a risky move. We would like them to reconsider, because we think the best national interest of the United States, of the NATO country in Afghanistan coincide in working together to making sure that Afghanistan will not become a source of instability for Afghans, for the region, or a source of support for terrorism in the world.
The UN came out in June and said that the Taliban retain close ties to Al Qaeda. This is where this all started after 9/11, when the Taliban were asked to give up Osama bin Laden and Al Qaeda. Do you believe they are still retaining close ties to Al Qaeda? And by allowing the Taliban to take some form of power in Afghanistan, don't you allow Al Qaeda back? And I know that they're still there.
Well, of course, it's not only the history of Taliban and Al Qaeda working together, but also the ideological bond between the two of them are very strong. That's why we have not seen any public statement by the Taliban leadership actually denouncing Al Qaeda. our American friends are saying to us that they have done it privately, but if it is an honest stand, they should come out publicly and denounce actually any affiliations with the groups like Al Qaeda or others, new international terrorist group that operate in or around Afghanistan. So we have our doubt that they will take a strong stand. We will definitely are very suspicious of the idea that making them a tool or a mean of fighting other terrorist group in Afghanistan, is it sometime told by our American friends. We don't think this is going to work, and if it works, it will be repeating the mistakes of the Cold War.
Ambassador, where do we go from here? I know that the talks are continuing and the violence is continuing. My final question to you, is this going to play out over weeks, months, years? How is this going to go, do you think? I know it's hard to tell.
If you look at the peace processes in Colombia, where I served as ambassador, and I know that country, and other places, Northern Ireland or Sri Lanka, many other conflict areas, usually you're talking in a term of years, unfortunately. As much as we want this conflict to end as soon as possible, as much as the Afghan people would like to see an immediate stop of bloodshed, the negotiation will last. That's why what we are asking for is a serious reduction of violence and also a ceasefire on both sides. Because a ceasefire will give confidence to the Afghan people that this talk is going somewhere. It's very hard for us to sell the idea of the peace to Afghans while dozens of people are getting killed on the street every day. And it's same thing is also on the side of the Taliban. If they are encouraging their young man to wear suicide belts and don't go out and fight and carry jihad, how are they going to convince them to step down and live actually as a normal citizen? That process should start. That process of serious reduction of violence and a ceasefire. And even if the talks continue for months or years on for us to agree on the form of the political setup that emerged, that's fine. But the immediate demand is a ceasefire and an end to bloodshed.
And again, you would say to a President Trump or President Biden, whatever the case, stay with us until the ground-based conditions of an end to the violence are tangible.
Absolutely, yes.
Ambassador, thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.